Hello and good morning. Welcome back to the brunch hour. I think that was
brunch. Depends where you're at, right, Neil?
yeah, brunch, lunch, breakfast, dinner,
Breakfast,
whatever you want.
We don't judge. Eat whatever you want, whenever you want. It's any meal, any time of the day.
Exactly.
What's going on, Neil? How's everything, man?
Everything's going good. It's going good. Seems like the markets are going to be green again. So cannot complain. Cannot complain. We have a couple of topics we want to discuss today. But first of all, welcome everyone. Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, we got some nice good mornings here. We got good morning from Charlie, from Taw, from Herculano, Tony. The list goes on. Restream itself said hello. So yeah, booyah. We have everybody saying good morning. So it seems like everybody's in a good mood, Neil. That means market has been good for the past few weeks. And I'm pretty excited. I mean, certain stocks have been rallying a little bit more than others. And certain stocks like Google keep I think giving us an opportunity.
It's either an opportunity or we are going to be left holding the bag. It's either or.
No, man. With Google, man, I don't think so. I think holding the bag, obviously, for any stock is possible. But for Google, this one's just a beast, man. It just keeps ripping, in my opinion. It's the solutions we've talked about it in the past. The AI solutions that keep coming out are insane. VO3 was wild. Every time I still use it randomly. But today, Neil, I don't know if you saw, OpenAI has a live stream today. It's gonna start in maybe like 4 or 5 hours. I wonder what they're gonna announce. I am one of their super premium subscribers, so I'm hoping we get something for that tier. Maybe we get O3 Pro or something like that. But excited to see what OpenAI releases today.
I didn't know they had I mean, I'm not surprised, right? Because we cannot go a week without having some AI announcements, whether those are big ones or not. But yeah, more recently we've had, well, I think not more recently. Yesterday, I made a whole video about it coming out after this live stream, that Apple might be looking at Perplexity to replace Google on iOS, and we've heard the same thing about maybe Samsung doing doing the same on their devices. And Google was, of course, down the last 2 days. Markets were not that down, I think. And so the question here is, Google pays over $20 billion to Apple every year. Google pays, I think, 12 billion, maybe more, to Samsung every year to be the default on those devices.
Mm-hmm.
The question now becomes, that 20 billion, that 12 billion, approximately, probably a bit more, is not going to flow to Apple's bottom line. It's not going to flow to Samsung's bottom line if there is no deal anymore, which means Google gets to keep that. Now, the question here is how big of a revenue impact is not being the default going to be? According to some documents and some internal whatever research that I found, back in 2020, so it was quite a while ago, the number is between 28 to $32 billion revenue hit for Google. So if you take, let's say, $30 billion, you take 20, so it's a $10 billion difference, right? From the 20 billion that they have to pay to the 30 billion that they are not getting from the search queries. If nobody uses Google anymore on iOS devices, which I don't think will happen.
I don't. Yeah, that's to me what's super weird. Maybe that's what's happening right now, Neil. That maybe Google is going to Apple and saying, "Look, we're not gonna pay you these types of money anymore." Because in theory, when someone downloads gets an iPhone, they're gonna go and download or use Google no matter what. So it's not like I'm losing out on anything with this. So I wonder if now Google just has the upper hand. I can't really see. I use Perplexity a lot, Neil. I can't really see how many people would switch over though to Perplexity over to your traditional Google. The other thing is, you mentioned about $30 billion revenue hit. If in theory you don't, no one in iOS changes over to Google. But do you know what are the margins on ads and stuff like that? Like if it's $30 billion, then you multiply it by the margins. How much higher is it than that actual $20 billion expense that they have? I'm going to guess it's going to get a little bit closer and closer to that number.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how, but I mean, I know just because I read it that iOS has higher margins than an Android device. Fancy schmancy people.
Okay, that's true. I forget about that.
So
Yeah,
your
yeah.
ad revenue coming from iOS devices will be higher than
The higher
from us poor Android guys.
Actually,
although I use a Pixel phone, so I guess the margins on that are maybe better because they own the whole thing. And that's also something, right? As the Pixel takes more and more market share, because it has been growing. The Pixel takes more market share in the smartphone game. That means that Google gets to keep more revenue for them because, well, it's the Pixel phone. Maybe someone just switched from a Samsung device to a Pixel, less likely from an iPhone to a Pixel, although you guys don't know what you're missing. I mean, you're still years behind on everything. And then when Apple releases something, you think this is something new.
Yeah.
But
I really got the new Pixel. It's amazing, man. I switched out of the Apple Rain. But it's so weird. I hate it sometimes. One of the things that I've noticed happen a lot is I'm in a group chat with a lot of Apple users. And sometimes I don't get their text messages, which I find it so weird. I wonder in whose end is messing up. It's like I would completely, and they're like, Jose, why aren't you responding? I'm like, I didn't get no freaking text message. Why?
Who sends text messages? Just use WhatsApp.
That's not a thing around with these Apple users either.
These Apple users. In 2030, they'll download WhatsApp and be like, whoa, what is this magic?
All right. So I wanted to, there's a lot of people commenting here, Neo, on Google. So Waldo, I don't think it would hurt Google much to not be the default browser. I agree. So of course, most of the Apple users still use Google on their devices. Hawking, buy Google below 165 heavy. I believe that's also the case. Do you know what's the stock price right now, Neo? What's it sitting at? Google having another 166. Oh, nice. Yeah. So this is one that, Neo, I only have really good exposure through it via, like my main exposure through it is via like that Mag 7 ETF that I have. But right now, this is one that I have a nice amount of cash lately since I've been dollar cost averaging out of a position that has done really well. And now I'm thinking about using that to increase the individual position of Google recently. But yeah, I'm still thinking about it. So overall, yeah, it does seem like a lot of people are extremely bullish at these price points for Google. But Waldo did mention that they just got hit with a $500 million fine. It's crazy that even for $500 million seems like a lot, but for Google, it's probably not going to be anything. It's just like, okay.
Is it from Europe or?
Not sure. I didn't Google it. I was just taking Waldo's word to
Let's see.
truth.
Google to spend $500 million revamping compliance. It's over 10 years in the shareholder settlement. Okay, big deal. 500 million, 10 years. I mean, they make it in a day or something, no?
Yeah. And then we have a lot of people, Maritza here, holding the bag. A lot of people holding the bag on Google. That's a no. A lot of people reported that. And yeah, a lot of, I'm excited. I think Google is one of those stocks that can be a nice returner over time.
Yeah, it won't be one that like doubles or triples from here, although you don't know, right? If Waymo really becomes huge in the future, Google Cloud becomes, because that's also something I want to touch on. But before doing that, in Europe, for example, if you buy an iPhone, when you first turn it on, you have a list of choices, like who do you want your default search to be. So regardless of what happens in Europe, it's already fair game for everyone. So in Europe, I would say you open up your iPhone, you would probably go either for Safari if you've been using a Safari for years, or you're stick to Google Chrome because you've known Google Chrome for all your life. You're less likely to start trying out other things. And that's in Europe. In the United States, you don't have that thing. In Europe, it's that DMA thing that started, I think, a year or so ago. So Europe is already a big market that you will not have that issue, I'd say. Less of an issue and less of a revenue impact in case there is no deal between Apple and Google anymore. Plus, let's say there is no deal anymore between Apple and Google, maybe even Samsung. What are the antitrust folks are going to say, right? Because that's also one big point in their case. Like, oh, they've been paying billions to be the default. Okay, but now not anymore. Not just not anymore. You can clearly see that there are plenty of other players out there. So the case just won't hold up, I think, going forward. Maybe it might be a tactic between or something that Apple, Google, and Samsung have been talking about, and maybe they'll switch the way that they work together, maybe through a revenue share model, right? Advertising revenue, Apple, Google, you get a share, I get the rest. Maybe that can be something that they'll work out. But yeah, that's basically, I guess, what's going on right now, while we're seeing still some weakness in that stock. But I'd say that 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, there was no Google Cloud business. Google Cloud today generates over $50 billion a year and growing very fast.
Yeah, very fast.
Margin-wise, we're still not at the levels of AWS. But I guess with Google's TPUs, their cost structure, we are probably going to get there in the next coming years, because I do think that their cost structure is the best among the top three. And so that could be $100 billion business in the future with over 30% margins. I don't think that's priced in, or at least I don't see the market pricing it in at the moment. So even if search gets hit a little bit, you have another business that is going to print money for them. And that becomes bigger chunk of their operating income for the next couple of years. Before I stop talking a bit, Apple, over the last couple of years, and Google, if you compare the net income compound annual growth rate, Google destroys the growth rates for net income. Over the past 4 years, Apple's net income has basically been flat. Google has grown. And Google actually last quarter was more than Apple, I guess. If you also take basically the last 12 months. And yet Apple is trading at a trailing PE of 31, a forward one of 27, 28, and Google sits at 18. Go figure.
I would love to hear from the comments here, Neo. Who do you guys think in the next 5 years will perform better? Starting today, would it be Apple? Apple obviously has a great business model, but as we can see, maybe some might say it's lacking in innovation. Or Google. I actually don't know who has performed better in the past 5 years, but who would perform better in the next 5 years from now? I don't know if I said 5 days, but in the next 5 years, who do we think will perform better on Google or Apple? I'm gonna have to say I think Google will perform a lot better than Apple over the next 5 years. What about you, Neil?
Yeah, no, I think it's. I mean, that's why I've been buying Google quite a lot. But it should just by getting that multiple expansion, it would crush the market performance over the next couple of years. And then you can add all the other things that the market is mispricing. So yeah, unless Apple, because if I were CEO, if Apple called me today and say, "Hey, Couch, do you
Hold on.
wanna?"
Sorry, Neil. It was a trick question for my channel. We got some people who got the right answer. Nvidia. I appreciate you guys in my channel here. You guys knew the right answer all along.
uh, Nvidia, yeah, the second place semiconductor company on the planet. um, no, but if let's say Apple calls you today and like, "Oh, we want to offer you the CEO position," there are certain things that you will do directly, right? That they've not been doing.
For who? For Google or for Apple?
Apple.
Oh, for Apple, I mean, I think I would. I wouldn't know. Obviously, there's a lot, but obviously, focus a lot more in the AI push, and see where their innovation team is going, and kind of those projects. I feel like one of the biggest issues with Apple is just the lack of innovation that we're seeing, and it's just trying to pursue. It seems like they're worried. You know, Google. One of the big scary things for Google was AI and how AI may cannibalize its overall ad revenue. Google embraced that, in my opinion, and is kind of trying to find a way to cannibalize itself. I don't think if you were to put Apple in that same scenario, Apple would do that. I think Apple, if it was a market where it would have to cannibalize itself, it would most likely do the opposite of trying to preserve itself. And usually, when innovation is happening, that's the wrong move to do. It's usually the best move is trying to cannibalize yourself before anybody else cannibalize eats you up. I mean, I think that's why Nvidia has dominated so well right now. It's because it's always so worried about who's going to come out here and eat the share, that I got to do it. I got to produce the better product, way better product than I had a year ago. And like a lot of people were mentioning here, Neil, I mean, Google, you have kind of everything else. You have the Waymo potential, which is getting a lot bigger nowadays. You have the eventual potential of quantum computing, which they are moving in that direction, right? So with Google, I can say that I have optionalities with where its market is going. I don't see what optionalities I have with Apple at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, if I were CEO today, I'd probably be making acquisitions to catch up. Um, why not? I know this is going to sound crazy. So, of course, we talked about the Perplexity deal. Why not acquire Perplexity, right? Straight out. You acquire Perplexity, bam, you're back in the AI race. Why not? No brainer, in my opinion. Then, if you really want to send a message to the market, acquire Rivian. You're back with your Apple car. Acquire Rivian. Apple has so much cash, it doesn't matter if Rivian is bleeding money today. Just go full out on the autonomous vehicles that you wanted to build before. You already have, let's say, the nice Rivian brand, and just splash the cash. Like, be more risky. Try new stuff. Some people will probably say, "Oh, just buy Disney as well." Okay, but Disney, I guess, is a bit more expensive than buying a Perplexity or a Rivian. Then, of course, go heavy on AR. I'm pretty sure that they're investing now quite a lot on AR, but just go heavy, push for that VR release devices that do not cost $3,500. Like, release ones that are affordable for the masses, and take market share if you really want. Like, stop being so, I don't know, you're Apple, you're worth close to $3 trillion. You have so much cash on hand. Like, start taking risks. I think the investors will be okay if free cash flow margin drops for a couple of quarters, but at least they know that Apple is preparing also for the future. Like right now, oh, we're going to release a new iPhone. It will have 3 cameras and maybe no screen. I don't know. Like it doesn't make any sense. Like start making moves. Like they have no cloud computing, right? They don't have that. Um, Forget about autonomous vehicles because they've spent billions of dollars on that for many years. They've got nothing. Maybe they can come out with humanoid robots of their own. I mean, I don't know how much that will cost, because if a phone costs already so much, how much would a humanoid robot cost for Apple? Arms and head and brain does not does not come directly with your purchase. You have to pay extra for that. But there are so many things that they can do, um, but they're not.
We got a lot of questions coming in here, Neil. Feel free to grab in. Let's see what we have. Just Jack here. Is Claude an AI LLM? Yeah, so Claude is the company Anthropic. Claude is their large language model. Anthropic is kind of like the big brain. Think of OpenAI as Anthropic and ChatGPT as Claude.
But that's
They are announcing some.
heavily invested by Amazon and Google, no?
Yeah, Amazon's the one that I think really is driving this one a little bit more. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, now I wonder if that's why Google also kind of put acquisition, invested in it, so you couldn't have maybe like a big player just completely acquire it. Because I feel like Amazon would have purchased this one off the bat and had its own AI solution. Jonathan here, if they had spent 13 billion like Microsoft did on OpenAI, that's a lot of wasted money. Jonathan, are you trying to say that Microsoft wasted money on OpenAI? I think it might be the opposite. I mean, I think for OpenAI, obviously it's
Yeah, because he
a
says this.
burning machine. Yes, but I mean, because of OpenAI, Microsoft was able to grow dramatically in Azure, which is a very, very profitable business for them. And not only that, that $13 billion in valuation has also ballooned compared to whatever they purchased at the valuation. So OpenAI, I feel Microsoft that wasted money just on valuation alone more than doubled, probably has even tripled. And then the actual revenue that they have gotten from the cloud spending of this is probably much higher, not just from OpenAI, but also from all the other companies that are using APIs from it. So I think it's actually been very successful for Microsoft. We have here, forget about quantum computing, from a quantum computing scientist. Pretty interesting. Definitely something that I think we have talked about, that even though it's not in our wheelhouse to comprehend how quantum actually works, we can see from top level experts that have mentioned that at least the quantum level computing that a lot of these companies are talking about, maybe there is different levels that I'm not familiar with, but the quantum computing the general companies are talking about is still multi years away. So yeah, any other questions? Oh, let me see this one. Tanmoy and Jose, are you waiting till Marvell's next event to know more details about their Amazon scene, or are you doubling down already? I'm gonna say, Neil, this morning I came in thinking of two stocks to add on to my portfolio, because I'm actually a little heavy on cash right now. Not extremely heavy. I think it's still like it's about 10% of my portfolio right now. But that's a little heavy for my taste. And the two stocks that I wanted to look into today was going to be Marvell, make my final decision on Marvell and Google. Those are the two I really want to add on right now.
I mean, going back to that $13 billion that Microsoft wasted, I am pretty sure that they 10x that already right now, right? Combine that with the valuation of OpenAI plus Azure revenue growth. So, yeah, I mean, Jonathan says they didn't need OpenAI to do this. Well, I think they did. Because
I mean, because I think what would somebody else have taken? I I mean, first for the valuation, I think the valuation already ballooned itself, so they made their money back just on valuation. So just an investment was good. Now, in theory, I think what Jonathan is mentioning kind of makes a little sense, right? Because most models right now are you see them run in all types of clouds, right? So you see
Yeah.
now the Azure run. I think even Grok, it has Grok. It most likely it has DeepSeek. It has Anthropic. I think it should have Anthropic. I don't know if it has Gemini, right? But I think the risk was that if during that time, if and unfortunately, right, Neil, you don't know at the moment. In that moment, we didn't know how much of a commodity to say. I don't think it's still truly a true commodity. I think it's getting there, but we didn't know if it was going to be a true commodity. What if there was only a one winner? Then if you didn't invest, you were left off the dust because Google already had Gemini or DeepMind at Google DeepMind. So they were already working in some AI stuff. So I think it was also a form of protection. And sometimes those protections end up losing. Luckily for Microsoft here, ended up winning. But I think at the moment, it was definitely the right choice for Microsoft to make with that thing.
Yeah, and I mean, and he even says was like Copilot was not a hit. Exactly, which makes this $13 billion even better, right? Because Copilot is not a hit. Let's be honest. But that $13 billion is. That $13 billion is worth $130 billion today, for sure, in Azure revenue and Azure Cloud and just OpenAI's valuation alone is worth that right now. So it makes sense. Like imagine if they did not. If they did not invest, I think they'd be in a situation like Apple.
They'd be Apple. Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think at the moment it was the right direction. And I still think, I mean, OpenAI is creating some interesting solutions. We still, like many say, we're still in the early innings of AI. So we don't know who's going to develop what with the amount of compute that we're getting. So I think it's still too early to tell. And Jonathan's saying that for the record, he likes Microsoft stock in general. But yeah, I think it's this kind of thought process is going to change over time. Neil, I think when it first started, everybody was really excited about this, even Microsoft. Now that we're kind of seeing maybe a little bit more commodity on LLMs, people are getting less excited about this investment, but valuation itself speaks for itself. But I think it's going to continue as long as they innovate, as long as everybody keeps innovating and everybody's going in different directions. We might have a different thought process in a year or two from now.
And one thing that Google has Google has an advantage on everyone else because, well, first of all, they have billions of users, right? Okay, that's one. Google search is still a term. Google search is still a term, and so as long as they keep providing the best value for your search time, let's say, why would someone waste their time with something else, with something new that they're not familiar with? Like us in the investing world, us maybe in the tech world as well, we know about all the ChatGPTs, the Perplexities, the Gemini, the Groks, and all of that. But the majority of the people around the globe couldn't care less, right? They couldn't care. They'll just go to where they are going every single day, where they've been going every single day for the last 10, 20 years or so. And if suddenly search with AI overviews, with AI modes, suddenly becomes so much better, why would they try something else, right? I mean, nobody likes to suddenly, I have to change my routine. I have to now go use this new search engine because, well, it's AI. Okay, if Google gives you the best answer still, why not still with Google? If Google does not innovate and release new products, etc., then okay, then it's not the best product out there. Plus, Google search is still free, which is also a big advantage, I guess. There's also something that we keep forgetting, and that's the fact that Google will acquire the cybersecurity company, cloud security company Wiz, starting fiscal 26, which could again accelerate their growth in a cloud business, multi-cloud as well. That also gets overlooked and completely people completely forgot about that deal. Of course, it will take time until we actually see the results of all of it. Plus, there's still that risk that it might not pass, as always. But Wiz is definitely going to be a quite successful business, whether it's inside Google or outside.
Yeah, I agree, Neil. Let's see. I think we have some other questions here. There was a question, Neil, that came in about PayPal, I think, at the beginning of the episode. I don't know if you want to take that, Neil.
I think he asked about PayPal and maybe partnering up with MasterCard, if I remember correctly. There has been, I'll have to do a PayPal video specifically, because there has been a lot of announcements around PayPal more recently, whether it's their partnership with Perplexity for the shopping aspect of things. Alex Chris said that they're launching the new physical card for in-store omni-channel strategy. So yeah, that's a card. Let me see. It's a MasterCard. It's a MasterCard card. So I guess that's the question that he asked. They also announced that they officially launched their PayPal mobile wallet with in-store tap to pay and buy now pay later in Germany, and they've already had 1 million signups. Good start, he said. Germany is of course a huge market for PayPal, and it's just a huge market period, whether it's in Europe or around the globe. So quite positive momentum for PayPal. The business, the stock is also not really moving that much. We're still far away from the $90 we've been at the start of the year. I'm still very bullish on PayPal, still very bullish on Google. And somebody asked me here as well on Intel. I am still bullish on Intel, but this thing is taking its time for sure. But I think Libutan is going to be making some moves, I think. Did you read the report that Intel and SoftBank want to create like a memory company?
Yeah, I saw that. It was seen that they were the HBM market is becoming such a supply constraint, and that they are looking for a prototype for sometime in 2027, and kind of manufacturing in 2030. But it's interesting to see Intel, like, doesn't it want to focus on its own things right now? Why is it trying to find new adventures like that? Why not focus more? But I guess they might be focusing more on like the manufacturing side of things and helping kind of create some stuff. So interesting to see where they go with there. But in the semiconductor spaces, we hear the news now, but we won't see about it or really hear about it many years from now.
Yeah, I mean, it's when I read it, I was like, very interesting. A new AI focused memory company. Timeline to achieve this milestone is the next 2 years. So I guess this also could help Intel Foundry. But yeah, I mean, Micron has been doing also quite well over the last couple of days. Still yet to report earnings. It's up 6% or so the last couple of days, up 27 last month.
Yeah. I know one that's about to report earnings, Neil, is going to be Broadcom, and we have here Kevin. What are you guys' thoughts on Broadcom's earnings? Neil, I was looking at kind of guidance for them, and market is expecting a flat quarter-over-quarter growth, which is pretty weird in this AI market. But we do know that sometimes there are some fluctuations with the demand of their TPUs from Google. So it seems like maybe this quarter is going to be a little bit weak on that demand, but the market is already expecting it. They did release a pretty cool chip yesterday, Neil. It's called the Tomahawk 6, and this is more for their networking side. For those that are not familiar, Broadcom is a networking play, and they design chips that go on network switches. So companies like Arista Networks, like Juniper, they buy this chip and they kind of work around it to make a networking chip. And the Tomahawk 6 seems to be rivaling NVIDIA's kind of infinite band and Spectrum X networking solutions, because it seems to be really good for kind of AI scale out in infrastructure. So it was pretty interesting to them announce this chip right before earnings. I think Broadcom CEO is very confident on delivering some amazing long-term results. I don't know what the short-term, but I think he's very confident of his team and the long-term potential. And sometimes, while I'm not a Broadcom shareholder, just that leadership, I say cockiness at times, Neil. I don't know. Sometimes it depends on where you live. Sometimes that might seem like a negative term. I've gotten YouTube comments saying, "Oh, you said cockiness about this. You're kind of saying something mad." I don't know. It feels to me like it's very high confidence, and that cockiness from Broadcom CEO sometimes makes me think: is this a company I should invest in? Because I don't really see CEOs that confident, but I still don't have it in my portfolio. Maybe have it various through ETFs, but long term, I definitely see the potential with Broadcom. I don't know how these earnings are going to be, especially with the stock just hitting new time highs, I believe, this morning or in pre market.
Still, this is crazy. Like, well, the recovery has been like for a company of Broadcom's size to be up over 75% since the April lows is insane. Market cap is $1.2 trillion um, for Broadcom. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, not even Nvidia has hit an all time highs just yet. So Broadcom
That's
is
because Nvidia is not the one anymore.
don't you dare! I'm about to leave this stream right now, Neil. Take it back.
As the young kids
Take
say,
it back.
Nvidia does not have the aura or whatever.
The aura, the vibes. It's not a vibe anymore.
No. Michael here, you are my hero, man. The streets won't forget. Thank you very much. Hopefully, I will be off the streets.
Waldo here. I only started buying stocks a year ago, and my largest holdings, Broadcom, is the best returner. Congratulations, Waldo, and welcome, welcome. Matthew says that Broadcom is one of the silent Mag 7. I wouldn't mind taking out Apple for Broadcom. I would just want maybe something outside of the semiconductor space to replace the Apple in that Mag 7.
Yeah. I mean, the Max 7, because if you list them, it's true that, I mean, even Tesla, debatable right now.
There was a comment there, Neil. I don't know if you saw it, and I kind of saw pictures of it. I don't know how true it is, but Tesla and drones. What have you heard about that?
I
What's
also
going on? Is
saw
this
that
new or
AI
is this?
generated image that you probably also saw from that same account, you know who.
Was it there from where I saw it? Let's see.
Yeah, it's because Adam Jonas, I think, released a note that said that Tesla could eventually just go into the drone business and then get access to the defense budget, which makes sense. I mean, when the factories are the product and you're really focused on AI and robotics, drones then become inevitable. Like, why not, right?
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. But would you want your car business to be mixed into a defense one? I don't know. Maybe they'll have to
Split
divest.
something.
Yeah, split
Yeah.
something. Although I did also see this weekend that what's his name? The guy who wrote the book for Elon Musk, Walter Isaacson, which was
I don't know
something
many
like
people.
that. He said that could Tesla and XAI could potentially merge in the future.
Oh yeah. I did see that one over the weekend. Which makes sense, right? But like you asked, why not do it sooner at a lower valuation? Now, like I think that's what you mentioned, right? If they would have done it sooner at lower valuation, especially if you thought that it was going to do so well, why not give the great returns to Tesla shareholders?
Why not just start
Yeah,
XAI inside of Tesla?
inside of Tesla. There are some other questions. Let's see what else we got here, Neo. So one I want to take a closer. Let's see.
Don't worry,
Jonathan here.
I have a timer just for the market
S.
open.
Thank you, Neo, because I almost forgot. I almost thought the market was already open. So SOXX ETF for the win. Semiconductor agreed for the win here on an ETF. There was a question about NVTS from Herculano. Any views on NVTS? So Neo, we've talked about this one in the past, right? This is the one that Nvidia announced a partnership with for the design of some form of power chips. Now, I would say I've been a little hesitant on this one because it definitely seems to be a very competitive market. Now, though, Neil, yesterday I took the time, I read the transcript. They were just at an event. What's today? Say Wednesday? Yeah, okay. So they were at an event on Tuesday. And they actually broke down a lot of their strength and a lot of the reasons Nvidia announced multiple partners in this kind of solution. Um, I'm not saying I'm a believer of NVTS, but I'm a little bit more hopeful than I was, or a little more. I'm moving away from maybe too much bearish. I'm moving in more to like neutral, because it definitely. I enjoy listening to transcripts, to earnings or conferences, because you really get to hear how the management speaks, how confident they are in something, how excited they are for something, and if I can feel that emotion, normally it gets me. It shows me. I don't know. I get something out of it where it tells me that maybe I should look into this company a little bit more. I want to say I got a lot of that from management during that kind of conference. I might be covering it in a video later, but I'm not 100% sold on it, but I'm not as bearish as I was a few days ago after that conference that happened yesterday morning.
This is honestly one that I, other than seeing the stock soar, not been following quite closely. But there is another stock that you own that has been going up and 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 up, and that's Coreweave. Coreweave has what, tripled, quadrupled since the bottom of April?
Yeah, I mean, in 10 more dollars is going to quadruple here.
$10 more.
Oh, no,
Maybe
$2 more
pre-market.
in the pre-market, not even. Well, from its IPO, right? $2 more. I forget what was the low. It got to 33, so actually it's already quintuplets.
Quintupled.
Quintuplets, whichever, times 5.
But you made a couple of videos about it. There were a couple of announcements, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot of cool announcements here with Coreweave in the past. The first is they signed that lease with Applied Digital, where Applied Digital is kind of like a nice data center builder. So it kind of builds all the infrastructure, and then a company like Coreweave can just come in and roll in all their AI servers. And they signed this kind of 15-year lease there, which at a really good place, right? So this North Dakota plant from Applied Digital, North Dakota tends to have cheaper electricity than other parts of the United States, Neil. It is in a place where winter gets really wintry and cold, so it can help with efficiencies and cooling in certain times. So it was a great news for Coreweave. It kind of showcases their overall expansion there and the demand that they're seeing for AI capacities. The other things we did see, Neil, is they kind of brought up a $2 billion raise. I forget of how. They're getting debt, right? I think senior notes. It was senior notes about $2 billion there, which the market was really excited about. And then we also saw them appoint kind of a new person as they're starting this kind of like government industry business, where it seems like they want to build AI data centers for, not build, but kind of have the AI do the cloud computing and the AI space for the government market and kind of entering in that space. Regardless, Neil, I do want to say I've been dollar cost averaging out of this stock. I'm not selling big positions at once, but I am dollar cost averaging over time. I think after I hit like 2.5x, I've been slowly decreasing because it was a nice size position for me, Neil. And I'm not selling everything, but for me to not lock in 2, 3 times, 4 times gain in a few months, not even a few months, in a few weeks, it seems irrational for me. So I wouldn't be buying at these price points. And like I mentioned, I am a holder and I am slowly exiting some, not all.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, this thing is up 341% since the lows. So you take your profits and you go buy yourself some nice Pokemon cards. And
yeah, you don't get mad getting a 300% gain in such a short amount of time. It's
exactly.
it's And if the stock goes up, like I said, I'm the type of person, that would, especially with any runner up, many people are saying, could this be the next super micro? I mean, it's not impossible, right? It's not impossible at all. Where you can kind of see a nice rally up and then over time it kind of pulls down. Who knows? They can also announce some massive projects as well. But I think my risk to reward ratio is just not in my favor to be adding at these levels.
Yeah, I mean, if you can lock in your huge gains and let the rest ride, and
Mm-hmm.
regardless, you'll be winning. We got here a question, super chat. Thank you, JJ. Why is Coreweave outperforming Nebius thus far? So it's true that it is outperforming Nebius by far thus far. Um, although Nebius as a stock has, I mean, since the bottom in April, we're still doubled.
That's the
That's not,
wild.
yeah, that's still not bad, I'd say. I
Yeah.
guess Coreweave, since Coreweave is a big IPO of 2025, it gets way more attention. It's also bigger than Nebius. Um, it got, of course, the OpenAI deal, a partnership, right, a couple of weeks or so ago. So it got that attention. More recently, that other deal, although that was maybe much better for an Applied Digital because that stock was also up, I think, 40% or maybe 50% on the day. Although that's what did you say? It's $7 billion for the next, what is it, 15
The
years?
next 15 years, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you kind of distribute it equally, it's about close to $400 million a year, Neil, which
Mhm.
isn't that bad because the company is worth at what, 2.3 billion dollars right now. So just this deal alone was about almost a quarter, or maybe a fifth of the company's total market cap. So I can understand why maybe the market got excited with it, because with the
Less.
2.2 billion, and
Less
is it
because
less than?
no, now it is, but when that was
Oh,
announced,
when it
it
happened,
was
yeah, it was
50%
less.
less. Yeah,
Yeah, less. Yeah, so it was probably closer to maybe like a third
half.
or a half of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
so yeah, I can see why the market got excited with Applied Digital, and with Applied Digital, the best thing is locking in those long-term contracts on this data center building, because then that's just money coming in. So I think it definitely was a nice win for Applied Digital, and I can see why the stock rallied.
yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree. Like when I saw that deal, I'm like, this stock is probably up 100% or so today. It wasn't 100, but it was 50, which again makes sense. Um, Johnson says they're outperformed because of their ownership from Nvidia. And Nvidia does have a stake in Coreweave, just like they have a position in Nebius as well. But I guess the one in Coreweave is a bit bigger.
Yeah, a lot bigger, Neo. I think it's this one a lot bigger on this one.
They own it. They own them. um,
um,
but yeah, but there still is the skeptical point of view, right, around CoreWeave, Microsoft, Nvidia, and how like you're round tripping revenue, as they say. I mean, as long as the company can continue to grow and grow and grow, I guess the market will not care much.
let's see what else. We got some other questions. I like this one from Scott. Hey guys, Nvidia giving $45 billion guidance seems a little low after 44 billion quarter. I know about the China situation, but I thought guidance would be a little higher. Scott, it's really just that Chinese
Yeah, it's
exposure
eight.
right
It's 8 billion.
now.
It's an 8 billion
Yeah, 8
difference.
billion. Yeah, that is it. And they only lost in quarter one 2.5 billion, I think, Neil, right? I think they mentioned something around there.
Yeah, it's two and a half of I guess the last one plus the 4.5 billion.
Yeah.
So
Um,
7.
yeah, so it would have been 7, right? So
Yeah.
yeah. So I think if you would have removed that, right, that 44, remove like that extra 4, you would have been closer to $40 billion in quarter one for Nvidia. So then the 40 billion to 45 is a nice healthy growth. So you can still see kind of that growth outside of outside of China is still pretty healthy. Now, Neil, every day I'm getting more and more rumors and updates that there, even something came out overnight where I saw that there's rumors floating that the Trump administration has allowed the B-30 to be shipped to China, which is the next generation. It's still rumors, but that's what I kind of heard over the nights. I haven't done a video on it, and I think this is I think I'm gonna do a little bit more looking into. But if there is some
It's
form of
strange,
trade
no?
discussion, happening with China this week, is what we're hearing, right? The Trump administration, I think, mentions that sometime this week Trump is going to talk with Xi. But if there is some form of resolution, we can maybe see at least the B30 or something. I could expect something like that. So, yeah, interesting there.
But it's strange, though, that they would let the B30 and not the older ones.
The only thing is, we are hearing, Neil, that one of the main reasons the Hopper architecture or the H20 was put out was because it had very amazing kind of throughput due to using HBM. And what we're seeing with the reports that I'm seeing, the B30 Neo, it's going to use GDDR7, which is more of like a consumer-based memory and not that fast. So that optionality and that decreasement allows them to be legally acceptable with the new export restrictions.
Okay, well, fair enough.
So if it is weaker, I don't know if Nvidia would get that full $88 billion of the Chinese space in theory, but it won't be a zero. And I think that's what excites me now about Nvidia. Is like the Chinese market is no longer a headwind. Now it's a tailwind. Now it's literally completely gone. The Chinese market in AI data centers is completely gone. But it can now become a tailwind for them.
Agreed. Question here about Nebius again, but high hopes. Your P there, your P transformed your hopes in a hose. I have high hopes for Nebius. They read somewhere to 8. Yes, so their guidance is 750 to $1 billion in ARR. If that happens, then it can't remain below 50. I think it will happen. I think it will come closer to your guidance range. Plus, they are going to announce a couple of things, I guess, in the next week and a half or so. They're also going to be present in Paris, Vivatech, where GTC Paris is happening as well. So I'm expecting some big announcements because they are a European player. So who knows, maybe announcements with Nvidia, maybe announcements with some other companies in Europe to build out some data centers here. That could definitely move the stock for sure. In the meantime, Advanced Money Destroyer is making its way back to 120. We're at 117, but we're making our way back.
Wait, Neil. So yeah, I forget. Nebius is actually more European based, right? And I did not know they're actually going to be at the GTC. That's actually pretty cool. What kids now say alpha there, and some pretty cool alpha there that definitely we could probably see some potential in the European market. Especially, I think that's another thing that maybe CoreWeave is getting the excitement a lot, is because it's more North American based. And right now, the AI data center space, is really growing. America region. I mean, this is where you have kind of a lot of the leading players. I do believe, and we hear it from Jensen and other players, that sovereign AI is coming, and other nations are waking up to this AI revolution, whatever that means. But now you have the potential of Nebius and all these other players to kind of win more stuff in it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, the HQ is in Europe.
Oh man, Neil, I lost my connection. 1 second.
What do you mean you lost your connection? I can hear you.
You're talking, but I can't hear my freaking.
But we can hear you. Any hoot.
Crashed on me.
I don't even know what I wanted to say, but okay. We have here a couple of conversations talking about Pokemon cards in the chat. That's a good diversification tactic. I agree, actually. Got some of my own here. I'm not buying gold. Not that interested in gold. I don't know what I wanted to say before, but what did I have in mind? Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Yu-Gi-Oh cards are just overprinted. Like they printed too much of the same sets of the same cards, and the value of it is just not worth it. I have, but they're not worth as much as my Pokemon cards. I have base set and base set 2.
Yeah. So I'm back, Neil. I didn't hear anything for the last 2 3 minutes.
Ah,
My computer decided to break all Bluetooth connection. Um, but yeah, all I heard was Pokemon cards.
yeah, but we have some conversations here in the chat.
We also have some great comments, Neil. I mean, Waldo, they love the stream with us. They say it's fun. Um, Natty says, nice chemistry between you two, not the mindless agreeing with every point, no matter how ludicrous as you see it on most other podcasts. Neil, I'm going to start disagreeing with you more often now because Natty enjoys us disagreeing. Now, we do have a question here from David. Are you two buying applied at the higher prices? Um, I'm not, Neil. I don't think I want to get too exposed into this market here uh with it, right? Applied Digital, at first I was a little bit confused with what it really did, Neo. It seems to be more of just like kind of like that landlord leaser, and the one that sets up the data center overall infrastructure out there. And then after you do that, if you are a player that has the AI servers, you come and roll in your AI servers and kind of put it into the infrastructure, pretty much have a plug and play already. I don't know how much I'm excited about that space. Obviously, Applied Digital can kind of grow in it with this whole demand of the AI market, but I don't know how competitive it could be. Right now, the numbers look really good, like we saw with that deal, but I don't know the future, how competitive it can get, and how many players are going to be entering in this space in the future.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not interested in buying it at the moment. There's a question here about Adobe. We did talk a little bit about Adobe. I think they report next week. Stock has recovered from the lows, just like any other stock out there. But I guess it's still a strong business. The market is just still waiting for that confirmation that they can monetize their AI features and their products, and that they're not losing people to the other options out there. So it's not going to be a super high grower. It's just going to be a solid one for the future.
Yeah, Neil, I agree. I mean, I think for this one in the software play, I really do enjoy GitLab right now as a kind of growth play in the software space. It's already a really decent position in my portfolio, so I'm not adding right now. But I don't mind it at these price points. But my cost basis is like 45 ish on it. Now I'm just holding on. But if it was smaller, I would be buying. I'm talking about this because I know someone asked what are some of the buys I was planning on doing. I mentioned two that I'm thinking of is Google and Marvell. If GitLab was not as big position as it is in my portfolio, that would have been number three in there. And I think that's a better play in the software space if one is looking for a growth play. If one is looking for a maybe more mature company, instead of putting money in Adobe, Neil, while they're not related, I would rather put it on an Uber. If I may be honest, I think Uber would be rather a better bang for my buck in long term. Mute it. You're muted. What a noob.
I was just
Shame.
saying things the chat should not hear. Uber has actually been dropping 12% since all-time highs, but seems like, if we believe in the magic of the lines here, seems like it is rebounding at the 50-day moving average. So could be interesting. We have 1 minute left until the market opens. So let me get back to the heat map and see what the heck is going on. We have one question here. SoFi from Michael. SoFi at $20 this year. Well, I better hope so.
Don't get Neo too excited, Michael. Come on, stop. He's look at that smile he has right now. Don't do that to him. Don't give him false hope.
I
I'm
have.
joking. I don't know what SoFi is, so
You know what SoFi is. What do you mean?
yeah. I mean, it's stock price. I don't know where it's at right now. Like
probably 13 or something. But if it's at 20 later this year, I've
hey,
got
it's
I've got
9:30.
two
Market
videos.
open. Do your thing.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, no.
Come on, stop talking about SoFi. Jeez, you see what you did, Michael? You made us miss the second of opening.
No, but it didn't refresh.
It hasn't refreshed just yet. I'm gonna look at my trading view real quick, see what's happening.
It is refreshing.
Do we have anything crazy that happened? Let me see. Chips in the chip market. There's nothing. I mean, no, nothing too crazy.
Europe finished up green today, so we are opening up green a little bit, which is why you're seeing most of the stock up but flat at the open.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, I just want to see some of us stock. Credo. We got a little green. I mean, we got most semiconductor names are green for now. For now. Google to the moon. Jonathan, I can just Google gods hear you here.
To the moon, yeah, up 0.7%.
It looks nice in the chart real quick. If you go to like the Google thing, it just looks like it's going up.
We're
But
not
yeah.
going to get far like this.
Google to the tree branch.
This is a strange opening.
Pretty flat, pretty quiet. Do we have any kind of macro? I'm not that macro guy, Neil. Maybe you follow it a little bit more. Anything we have today that we need to keep an eye out, an ear out, or something
Today?
out?
No, I don't think there is anything today. Let's see economic calendar if we have something for the week. I think the dudes from Europe said that conversations with the US are going smoothly. So maybe that's why things were a bit green.
I love that hand. It was all different types of hand. um, I'm at SSB. Glad you're looking into Marvell. To what price would you be accumulating it? Let me just say right now, anything under 70, I'm looking at it very, very, very heavy. Depending on how I feel this morning, I might kind of add to my position. But after 70 is when maybe I start to think it through a little bit more of just smaller dollar cost averaging. But under 70, and again, it can go anywhere, especially after that AI event. That is, I don't know if it's this week or next. I think it's next week or the week after that. It's one of these next 2 weeks. The stock can be very volatile. So if one gets into it, just be prepared for that volatility before it.
You know, this was a very good surprise. That their
It
mic
was.
actually was a good mic for once.
Yeah.
I guess us complaining helped.
Every day I would send an email to their investor relation team asking for a new mic. I wonder if they finally got the memo.
Well, maybe they'll get the memo to invite you to an event and we can have better streams.
Let's see, what else do we have?
You know what's funny?
A lot of things, but go ahead.
I uploaded that video about Google and the issues with Apple and whatever, and it's the first video in a long time where, you know, when you upload there is this checking like for a minute or two for the ads. Took them 20 minutes to approve this video because they found one issue in the video. I was like, is it because I talked bad about Google? What is this thing going on here? Does this, like, there is no B-roll, there is no content from somewhere else. I was like, that's a very strange.
Oh wow, that's really weird.
Yeah, that's very, very strange. Maybe I should change the title now.
Did you make me make a hum of something of a song that it probably grabbed?
I can't sing, so no.
I believe in you, Neil.
Thank you.
All right. TSM up about 2.3% right now. Marvell up 1.5. Broadcom up 1.5. Definitely a nice day. TSM, Neil, yeah, I got to read through it. I saw some posts yesterday that they had kind of this investor event where there were a lot of questions asked to TSM. I don't know if you heard, Neil, there were rumors that they were planning on building a fab in UAE, but they kind of debunked some of those rumors there. So I haven't looked at it just yet, but it's something I'm gonna do maybe in the next day or so. As there have been a lot of conferences lately, Neil. AMD just had their conference yesterday. I don't know if you took a look at it, Neil. I quickly glanced to it. Nothing crazy, I want to say. I don't think there was anything really new. It was the CFO of AMD, so Gene, and it was the IR person. They usually do these things together. The only thing is, they seem very excited for this AI event, and they keep saying that these new customers for the MI350. So they're actually getting me very, very hyped for the AI events, and I really want to see somebody big show up in that stage when they announce new customers. And they also say strong engagement with old customers as well. So those big ones, like I would still love to see your Meta and your Microsoft in that stage as well. So we already know Oracle is buying the MI355s. We haven't gotten any confirmation from anybody else. So we'd love to see your Meta and Microsofts there as well.
Yeah, maybe an Amazon, who knows? Hopefully. But
Neil,
yeah.
Do you think the stock would really take a hit if one of those two players that they have right now, the Meta or the Microsoft, don't show up or don't get announced for the MI350?
If there is nobody else, yes. Like if they don't show up, but they suddenly announce something with Amazon, then I think we're fine. But if we don't have anything, yeah, of course it takes a hit.
Yeah. I'm going to have to sleep on that one. I don't know. I feel like even if they announce somebody, but they lose a big player, I wouldn't be a big fan of that. I mean, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be a big fan. I don't think the stock would be a big fan of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We have a week about it. I think it's May
12th.
The 12th, right?
Yeah. This is CrowdStrike today. It's down 7.6%. It reported earnings yesterday. Okay earnings, I'd say good earnings. Guidance for fiscal year 26 was a tiny bit lower on the revenue side of things. But this is another one that is, I mean, it's a good company, great company, I'd say. Just very, very expensive. Just very priced to perfection, and you're taking a small hit right now. So that's I'd say the main reason. I do think that they also announced a new $1 billion share buyback program. I don't think it's worth it for them to buy back the shares today because they're quite expensive. But who knows? Quick summary here: ARR surpassed 4.4 billion. And they added $194 million in net new ARR. Revenue increased 20% year over year to $1.1 billion. Record free cash flow from operations and free cash flow. What else? What else do we have here? Falcon Flex, so their Falcon platform. Deal momentum with accounts exceeded $3.2 billion in total deal value, growing more than 6x year over year. Let's see if we've got maybe some comments on some clients that maybe they lost or maybe they still have to pay damages from last year. But so far, I don't think so, because if that was the case, I think they would get hit way more than just 7.4.
Yeah, Jonathan here. I think CrowdStrike will get sued for their airline and kind of the whole fiasco thing that happened there. I'm surprised. I don't follow this too much. I'm surprised it still hasn't. If they still haven't gotten hit here, so would. I wonder how much the market is also already expecting that. We have this from Waldo. Meta wants to open more physical stores. I didn't even know it actually had some. Does it have it just for its like Oculus showcase type base?
Yeah, I don't think that they really have like.
It's more in just like I think in their campus, right? That they have it where if you go to their campus, you can actually see some of these glasses. But I don't know why they would want to do this unless I got to read more into it.
I mean, it makes sense because it's very Apple-like. Right? The Apple Store is very nice, clean, and you can go and try out new devices. So I guess when you release new devices, you would like to have stores where people can try it out. Because now, who can try it out? Well, you have to order it to try it out, or maybe go to a specific place that might have it and might let you try it out. So Meta controlling that experience. Plus, if it is a store where you only have AR VR, I would assume that there will be like a very, very cool area where you can play like insane VR games or whatnot, where the setup is just to perfection. It makes sense to me. Makes sense.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Um, NFL fans here killing it in the market. Literally getting filthy rich just buying calls. This is crazy. Everything's exploding. I'll be buying my third house soon. Congratulations on the third house. Yeah, it works till it doesn't work, right? Though, Neo, the market is pretty tricky. So for anybody who's trying to follow NFL fans, I'm pretty sure NFL has his own plan there. What else do we have here? Neo, do you pay for your heat map services here? No, that's TradingView, right? Is that TradingView?
This is TradingView, yeah.
And you probably pay for it, right?
No, you just have to
No.
sign in.
Ah, so you get a real life.
Yeah, if you don't sign in, then it doesn't update. If you sign in just with like a Google account or whatnot, then it updates.
Neil, do you follow Hood? This one. So, Tamoy, you guys think Hood can make it into the S&P 500? If yes, it might be a pump again, I guess. Any thoughts here?
I do. I've been following Hood since below $10. But back then, nobody cared about Robinhood. They only cared about when Robinhood was at $40. Yeah, I do follow Hood. It's been a couple. I think it's been 2 quarters or so where they were eligible to get into the S&P. If they can make it, will it pump again? Maybe, but again, nothing changes for the business. Yeah, nothing changes for the business. I think it is over $70 right now. Let's see. It's for the first time in a while. Let's see, Robinhood. Yeah, it's at $72.
Ah, pretty beast.
Yeah, no, this one has also rebounded quite a lot, like over 130% since the lows. It could definitely enter the S&P 500 for sure. The question here is, who are the other candidates to enter? But not whether they enter or not doesn't matter, right? Because if the business continues to perform the way it is, it will enter eventually. So if it's not today or today, I don't know when the next one is, but it will eventually enter. So yeah.
I was just looking at charts here, Neil. Applied Digital up another kind of like 18% on the day right now.
Indeed. Indeed, it is.
Neil, I was also I know you don't I don't think you follow this one, but I would love to hear your thoughts. There was an analyst making a spicy prediction. I'm looking here on Yahoo Finance that Apple buy Unity in a push. What are your thoughts there? I mean, I would say I think it would just have too many legal and regulators issues, and everybody would fight back, as you know, right? I mean, Unity, every type of game is being mobile game usually is developed there, so like Google can say, hey, look, we don't want that happening. But any thoughts on Apple purchasing Unity there?
Wouldn't that be something against Meta, right? Because Meta wanted to acquire Unity a long time ago. That didn't happen. Could Apple do it? Honestly, I don't think so. Because Unity is first of all, it's a duopoly, right? It's Unity and Unreal. Second
Yeah,
of all, Unity it works because it's not a walled garden, right? It's not an
yeah.
Apple-like ecosystem. So I don't know how that will work. Like maybe if Apple acquires it but doesn't change anything, then okay, fine. Apple can just pump in more money, I guess. Would definitely help Apple with their VR push and AR push for sure. But yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out for everyone that has been building on Unity for years and years.
I agree. I think some analysts just I don't know. I think they just want to say random stuff to
Exit.
just say it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah. I mean, here we can see Yummy. Broadcom is pretty much
it's up another
crushing it.
3%. Yeah.
Yeah, and right before. I mean, we still have 2 days before earnings. Like, when are earnings tonight or is it tomorrow?
I think Thursday night.
Tomorrow, yeah. So I mean, this one's definitely. But sometimes, I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but sometimes I get worried. Like before earnings, if the stock goes up a nice amount, it's like already you're already expecting a lot during these earnings. So it's like no matter what they say, how much has already been priced in, and I think that's the that's always the ultimate question with investing: how much has been priced in.
Yeah, no, for sure. I have to I have to check. Yesterday, my company Couchbase reported earnings. It's a company called Couchbase. I was like, huh,
Hmm.
interesting.
Hmm.
Thank,
Interesting.
thankfully, they did not use the ticker symbol Couch, so I still have an opportunity to steal that one. Couchbase.
Let's see. Trying to look on Twitter if there's anything interesting happening right now. Um,
Yeah,
we have David here, a real-time gambler. With David here, he bought Applied Digital 10 minutes ago, and it's up over $1 per share already. Um, oh yeah, we I forgot this. We also do have a lot of conferences happening. This week in the semiconductor space. So today we do have Broadcom. I mean, Nvidia having an event. Let me just check my calendar. What else we have? We have Nvidia today. Um, if you're very heavily into the semiconductor, you have Applied Materials, Texas Instrument, all being in Bank of America. Synopsys just recently kind of got that push out of the Chinese space, so that's probably going to be a big question. So Bank of America is having a major event. And then next tomorrow, still with Bank of America, nothing too big tomorrow. But yeah, so today and yesterday were pretty good for overall semiconductor investors. Yesterday, a lot of companies were at a Bard Global Consumer, or the Bank of America, excuse me, AMD, Lam Research, Fortinet, Dell Technologies, Marvell, On Semiconductor, Airtest, Global Foundries. So if anyone is a follower of those companies, you can definitely go to their investors relations website, and they should already have kind of like the transcript or the live call, a recorded call of those events. But a lot of semiconductor companies were there yesterday.
HIMS is back at just under $60. I believe they announced that they're going to acquire a company in the UK, so expanding internationally now. Not
Another one I
bad.
don't follow, but this one is I feel like has from its lows has completely destroyed the market as well.
HIMS, yeah, I mean, since the lows, it was at $25 over, I mean, more than double. It's quite crazy that so many names have doubled over the past, and then now let's call it 2 months. Although, okay, we did have a heavy crash, but still quite impressive. This is United Health. This one has rebounded a little bit from the lows. 23% from the lows. Now it's around $300, $306 for the last couple of days. Yes, you have some time to find a base, to form a base. We're back to prices not seen since 2020 for United Health. Not
Yeah.
bad.
All right.
Let's
I think we only got like a few minutes here, Neil. I don't know if anybody has any final questions that we can jump into before our final roundup. But Neil, anything you're watching out for this week or next week in general? For me, I don't
this
think
week,
it's just a
no.
Broadcom, right?
Yeah, nothing special this week. Next week we will have those events.
Oh yeah, next week will be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So next week, yeah, 1 week from now, 11th, we have GTC Paris, and the day after we have AMD. So that would be eventful. But other than that, no, slow week, which is fine as well. Um,
Mhm.
as we get out of this earnings season.
Christian here wants to know. We have thoughts on Micron, MU. killing it. Over $100 right now, Neo. Back over 100.
Yeah.
Just about a month ago, it was like in the 60s, I believe.
Yeah,
Where
it
did
was
it get
crazy.
down
It
to?
was at 60, 62 or something. It's insane
Yeah.
how low this
Yeah.
one went. So we were here as well. You're up 65% already. I did cover Micron last week, and since then the stock is up. So here I go again.
Nailed it. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
think here we can just repeat what we said. It's, I mean, bullish on the HBM market, which Micron is right now what seems to be a duopoly, at least with SK Hynix. There are reports, Neil, that Samsung is getting a little bit better with at least some of their HBM3 solutions. So it eventually could become triopoly. I don't know what the actual word is. Um, but yeah, I mean, and then just the demand for memory solutions in general. I mean, if you're going to see more if you're going to see robots in the future, right? If you're going to see more autonomous vehicles, if you're going to need more solutions on AI PCs, if you need more memories on your phone due to the all types of AI solutions that are going to be running, like if your typical Internet of Things product are going to need some form of more memory solutions, your AR glasses, there's that growth opportunity for a lot of tailwinds here. So only reason I'm, like I mentioned, I've never, don't have a position. It's just I'm very AI invested, and it's like sometimes it's like, how much more can I gain from this? I start to look more in different avenues.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, right now, I mean, I would still say that okay, SK Hynix is in the lead, but Micron is catching up very quickly. According to
Mm-hmm.
them, they're catching up very, very quickly. Samsung is still behind, and even if Samsung catches up in HBM3, Micron is expected to have HBM4, I think next
Yeah.
year already, or at the end of next year.
Mm-hmm.
Then HBM4E the year after that. So they're doing whatever they should be doing. PE wise, this is a very cheap stock, but this has always been a cheap stock because of the
Yeah.
cyclicality of the business. But HBM does add billions of dollars that never existed before to their business. So I'm still bullish. We still have 3 weeks, and 2 weeks I think till the next earnings.
It's wild that it's so close. But I do want to say, Neil, I'd sometimes be careful when thinking about the HBM market being kind of like a ladder, because you hear like HBM3 and HBM3E, and I would say sometimes one might think that you need to finish HBM3 to jump into HBM3E, and you need to finish HBM3E to jump into HBM4. But sometimes there's just like such a massive change in architecture with all these products that even if you don't do HBM3 successful, you could, I think this is what could be happening with Samsung. They kind of give up on HBM3, but they might be a true powerhouse in HBM4, right? So it's going to be interesting to see that play out. But yeah, I agree. Right now, it's SK Hynix and Micron are the two that are consistently delivering. HK Hynix is definitely the leader, but being a U.S. memory company, I think, has its own perks to it, especially with the current sentiment around the U.S.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and plus they're expanding, so I guess it make. I mean, if they're expanding, it makes sense. There is quite a lot of. There's still everyone's still catching up to the demand. Um, JJ here, another super chat. Thank you very much. What is your best stock idea for a multi-bagger over the next couple of years? I'd say might be a bad reaction for some, but I still think my multi-bagger meaning what, Jose, when you hear multi-bagger, what do you think of? 5x, 10x, 2x, 3x?
I was gonna say at least 3x. It has multi bags, right? One bag would be a 2x. No, one bag's one. Two bags. I would. Um,
So at
at
least
least three.
3x, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, at least 3x. I mean, I still over the next couple of years, give me a couple of extra years. Yeah, I still think SoFi could be. I mean, in my portfolio, money wise, it is because it is the biggest of the conviction. So SoFi probably up there. Rocket Lab definitely up there. It is already a multi bagger for me. Rocket Lab. I have to put dLocal there as well. Just the total addressable market, market cap, business execution, leadership. I think it has Multibagger written all over it. Just needs time. And then Nebius as well. Okay, it has already doubled since the lows in April, but I think this company can be worth way more in the future, not just because of their core business, but because of the other businesses that it has, plus the investment in ClickHouse, 28% in ClickHouse. ClickHouse is expected to be worth around $6 billion. I mean, just do the math here. So, yeah. So I guess I'll have to put SoFi still at the top, then the Rocket Lab, dLocal, Nebius. Yeah, AMD. I mean, AMD, if it is successful, for sure, from the price today, could be worth $500 billion by the end of the decade. Or is that too crazy?
Yeah. No, I think so, Neil. I think AMD has the potential of being a multi-bagger for sure. I mean, you have your Broadcom being $1 trillion company already. You have your Nvidia being a $3 trillion beast, in the greatest of all time. There's some potential of AMD there. I definitely do, and that's why I own it. Right, I do think that's one of my closest multi-baggers. If I had that question, let's see.
Let's see what happens in the market.
Any big changes? Tesla down 2%, Palantir down 3%, but Palantir, I mean, still doing amazing. I saw Broadcom
still.
and Meta up about 2% there. Not so bad. Nvidia flat for the day. Come on, Nvidia. Come on. Give me a nice goodbye gift.
Goodbye gift, meaning it has to go down more.
Ha ha ha. Ah ha ha ha. Neil, you are too funny, man.
I know. If this YouTube thing didn't work out, I'd be working in a circus.
I bet. I bet. We got random questions here from would you consider doing viewers portfolio reviews? I don't think. I mean, I think we would just say what we think, and I think we all individually have our own bias, right? For example, if I saw a portfolio that had oil, I'll be like, why you got oil? But that's because I'm just so tech centric. It doesn't mean it's a bad investment. I think portfolio reviews would always be different for every investor because every investor just has their own investment thesis, and it's very hard to escape that bias of that thesis. So yeah, I actually don't know how helpful something like that would be.
I mean, it would be interesting. It would be interesting. But it's your portfolio, not ours. We can just like share, like he said, like if you have oil companies or whatever, might not be something that's interesting to us, but could still be a very good performer. Maybe we can do a portfolio review video in the future.
All right, Neil has said yes, so I guess we're gonna have to.
It's free content, Jose. It's free content. Question: aren't you afraid of Nebius being dependent on Nvidia holding their stock? They only have access to the chips early because of it. No, I don't think so. I don't think it's in the contract. Like, we buy your stock, you get our chips. I don't even think that's legal. So no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think Nvidia does have preferred partners, and I think for them is the partners that can showcase that they can build the chips build the systems the faster. So because that helps Nvidia showcase their products a lot easier, and that helps a lot with the demand thing. Like if you're able to build up a system super quickly, I know you're gonna get revenue out of it. I know everybody's gonna see. So I think that's more who gets the earlier chips, and obviously they're big orders in forms of like the hyperscalers. But I think in kind of like these smaller players like your Coreweave, your Nebius, is whoever can build the systems the faster is probably the ones that might get some of the orders a little bit ahead of time. See, like you wouldn't want to see my review on this. I wouldn't know what to say. Except the 30% tech. I'll be like, I can give you a third of my thoughts.
Well, this must be one hell of an interesting.
Real deal. Out of the 3 to invest, Coreweave applied digital Marvel, I chose the wrong one. I mean, I I can tell which one you chose, real deal. But I'm guessing your thought process was sound, though. I mean, I'm pretty sure CoreWeave and Applied Digital, or that is that high risk to high reward momentum or mentality.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right, Neil, it's 10. I actually, unfortunately, have to step out.
Yeah, well, we will be back.
We will be. Are we doing one tomorrow? What are we doing, Neil?
I guess so. No, I guess so.
Okay,
Why are
I'm
you up there?
asking you.
Why are you up here? Hello.
I don't know. And I'm gone. All
Uh,
right.
what is this layout?
I don't know. Are we still live?
Yeah, of course.
I just don't show my $1 trillion portfolio.
Yeah. Voilà. I don't know what the heck happened here. Amateur hour.
Amateur hour. Yeah. Appreciate
Anyways.
everybody. Jonathan, Real Theo, Bino, Jack, Matthew, if you're still here, Natty, Sludgy, Waldo. Everybody appreciate the support. See you tomorrow. Maybe same time.